from the entrance to the building all the way up to the back of the lot, all the way back 10 times. Okay, and I come here to the door. What do you expect to see? Huffing and puffing, sweating. Is that a disease?
No.
What do you mean? That's not a disease that I would be huffing and puffing and short of breath, and that's not a disease? What is that? What is that?
Well, you're sweating, you're losing some of your salt in your body, and then you're getting short of breath, and then you.
Why do I get short of breath?
Because you're losing some of that salt in your body, and you need that sodium in order for circulation.
Okay, I love the tenacity to keep going here with this. See, here's the real reason why we get sick a lot of times. Is because we don't understand our bodies well enough. Okay? And you would think doctors understand the body better than anybody. But okay. So let's talk about this. I'm running up 10 times. Hard as I can. What is that doing? First of all, the muscles run on what?
Energy, circulation.
What fuel does my muscles use?
Water.
No.
Sugar.
Sugar. See, I'm reviewing. I told you all these answers last time, so I'm helping you remember. So your body runs on sugar. So when I run, the muscles say, hey, I need more sugar. So it draws sugars from your bloodstream, and your blood sugar goes which way? Lower. That's why walking lowers your blood sugar, because your legs say I need more sugar, so it naturally lowers your blood sugar without a pill. Water is used to facilitate the actions. Your muscles don't run on water, but they couldn't run without water. But fuel is sugar. So the water facilitates that. So how do they measure your blood sugar? How much sugar, percentage of sugar in the blood compared to how much water is in the blood. The higher the percentage of the sugar, the higher they say your blood sugar is. The lower the percentage of sugar, the lower they say your blood sugar is. So by drinking more water, you actually lower your blood sugar. So diabetes is not a disease. It's really what? It's a measure of how well your body is using sugar and water. So if you walk, you got high blood sugar, and every day you decide you're going to walk, your blood sugar would naturally go down. Unless, when I run, something happens. So I'm using sugar, I'm breathing. Why? Because oxygen is the fire that burns the sugar. So you know you put wood on a stove, right? On a fireplace. You put a little paper in there, a little stuff. Some people use a little lighter fluid. I say be careful with that.
That's right.
Then what? There's no fire still. You need fire to burn that wood. Oxygen is the fire that burns the wood, the sugar. So now what happens when you burn wood in a fireplace? What do you get?
Heat.
You get heat. That's why I'm sweating when I'm running. That shows you things are burning, right? What else do you get? Ashes, smoke. That's waste. So if you live in the old days, we had to do what? take the ashes out of the fireplace every so often to keep it working right.
Right.
Your body has to get rid of the ashes from metabolism. So that's why you sweat, is to cool off from the heat and get rid of the waste. But in the midst of that, what else happens when I'm running? My heart rate goes up. And guess what else elevates? My blood pressure. Do I get a disease when I'm running?
No.
No. If I'm running, my heart, my legs become pumps. They are pumping blood just like my heart. My heart pumps, my leg pumps, it raises the arterial blood pressure so that I can move. Because the muscles need the blood so that that pumping sends the blood where it needs to. Am I getting too long-winded, too boring? You following me? So, that's not your blood pressure going up is not a disease. It's an alarm. It's a mechanism God put in there to tell you about everything, how things are working in your body. It's not a disease. That's why doctors say you can never get rid of it, because it's built in. You have a house built, you put a fire alarm in there, you don't want to hear the fire alarm go off, but when it does, is that a bad thing? No, because you want the fire alarm to go off when?
There's a fire.
When there's a fire. When there's a fire, it's telling you there's a fire. You don't want to hear that there's a fire, but you're glad when it goes off and there is a fire. Your heart, blood pressure, diabetes, these are alarms that go off to tell you something is wrong. And it's going to keep alarming until when?
Take care of it.
You take care of it. There it is. So by hacking the alarm off the wall, that's one way to stop it, isn't it? You can hack the alarm out and it won't ring anymore, right?
Right.
But then guess what?
You still have to replace it.
There's still a fire.
Yes. Right.
Your blood pressure medicine only hacks the alarm out. It does not stop the fire. That is not what causes hypertension. Okay, so let's get to your question. You thought I forgot, didn't you? Salt.
What you said, salt is salt is not.
I got this. I got this.
You just asked me what was my question.
I know, I didn't ask you what your question was. I said, I remembered your question. Okay, so here's the thing, and this is, like I said, this is going to go different places, so hang on. Okay, God made plants. There's only 3 nutrients that you can eat, and in all the world, there are only 3 types of nutrients. What are they? I'm going to push you, so you got to get used to that. I'm going to push you to think. What are the 3 types of nutrients that there are?
Plant food, like greens,
Okay, greens, but
vegetables.
3 types of nutrients. What are those 3 types of nutrients?
You got vitamins.
Nope.
Okay.
It's not a nutrient.
Antioxidant is in some foods. No.
Simpler than that. 3 types of nutrients.
Sugar.
Okay.
Water.
You give up?
Yep.
Water and
Okay. Protein,
Protein.
fats, and carbohydrates.
Okay.
The only three nutrients that there are. You don't live on anything. The other things are activators, enzymes, vitamins, minerals. Those are just activators, right? So fats. So we get confused because people put different labels on stuff. It's all three things. Fat. Where do you get fats from?
Can you get from nuts?
You can get it from nuts. Where else can you get fat from?
Meats.
Meats. Where else can you get fats from?
Starches.
Some vegetables.
Okay.
Some. Name one.
White potato.
White
Avocado.
potato gives you fat.
Avocado.
Very little fat in potato. 0.4 grams. 0.4 grams of fat per potato.
What about the
0.4.
avocado?
Avocado, this fruit, is very rich in fat. Now the great thing about avocado is, though, it has in it the enzymes to break down the fat, which is what you need. That's why avocado doesn't last long, because it gets brown after a while, because it has the enzyme that's breaking it down, right? So fats, then protein. Where does protein come from?
Meat, beans,
Huh?
meat, beans.
Meat, beans.
No.
Now, let me change the question. Where do these things originate? Where do fats come from originally? Where do proteins come originally? Where do carbohydrates come from originally?
From animals.
The earth.
So let's deal with one. Fats. Where do fats come from originally?
From animals, mostly.
Mostly from animals. Everybody agree? Okay.
No, the earth.
What about carbs? Where do carbs come from?
All the nutrients we need are from the earth. Comes from the earth.
Yeah, but more specifically, rocks come from the earth, but we don't eat those. So where does that come from specifically? Carbohydrates.
And it don't come
Where do
Starches.
okay. So we said proteins. Where do proteins come from? We said fats. Most people said from animals. Proteins come from
animal products.
animal products. Okay, all right. So most of what we need come from animals then. Fats, proteins, and then carbs. We didn't say where they came from.
Starchy foods.
Starchy foods? Okay. So let me turn your table upside down totally.
Okay.
Totally. Totally. I'm going to turn your table over. Okay?
Okay.
What we call, let's start with carbohydrates. So carbohydrates are plant matter. So wheat is carbohydrate, mostly. Wheat and grains. It's a large part carbohydrate. If you deal with the simple part of it, it's called starches, but it's still, that's a carbohydrate. It's just another name. So you got carbohydrates. Let's put all the names under it. Some people call them carbs. Some people call them starches. Some people call them sugar. Oh, all the same thing. You have complex carbohydrates, which are mostly called starches, and simple carbohydrates, which are called sugars. But guess what? They're all the same basic thing. So those come from plants, fruits, grains, vegetables. Got it? So where do carbohydrates come from?
Fruits, grains, and vegetables.
Excellent. Protein. Where does protein come from? Meat, she says. Protein originates Only from plants. Wow. They said, I'm listening. He said, you're listening. Plants produce amino acids in different varieties. So let's look at vegetables. Some protein in vegetables, a little bit. Some. Not much. Protein in fruits, not much. Grains, legumes, plant matter, that's where it comes from. So in some grains you have strong, in some of these you have 20 essential ones. Well, 20 total, 9 essential. You have some of those essential ones in plants and they're weak in others. So they might have some and they'd be weak in others. So what grain is strong in, beans and things are weak in. So when you put grains and beans together, you get a complete mixed protein. Everybody follow me? If you don't understand, I'll say it again. So look, let's just say you need 9 total. Over here you've got 5. Over here, well, let's say you got 6 over here, but I don't have 6 fingers, right? And you got 3 over this side. So you have to put those together. But you only have, you're missing some, right? So that's rice. But beans are like this. You see it? It's strong in the things that rice is weak in, and weak in the things that rice is strong in. So you put beans and rice together, it's a complete protein, better than meat.
Say that again.
Rice and beans. So let's take it a specific example. If you took black beans and rice, 3 ounces, which is about that much, and you take a 9-ounce steak, which is about like that, you get 4 times the amount of proteins in the beans and rice than you do in the steak. 4 times. You get that? So, back to my original question, where does protein come from? It only comes from plants. Why is it in meat then?
Because the cows eat the plants.
Oh, there it is. The cows eat what? Grass and grain and corn. They're smart. They said, well, I know where that is. So they said, well, you do what you want. I'm eating this. Does an elephant, is it strong or weak?
Strong.
Only eats plants.
That's a big idea.
The elephant lack protein?
No.
No, nobody ever. You stand in front of the elephant when he's running, and let's see who's stronger. Right? You eat a chicken leg, let him eat grass, and see who gets knocked down. Protein is secondary to meat. It is not primary in meat. It does not come from animals. Okay, I'll give you another one. Fats. Said, okay, animals. Right? Wrong. It is primarily only from plants. Wow. I got him with that one. Why? The sun, God set the sun there. The sun shines down. That light plants live by. The light hits the plant. The plant makes energy. It takes the sunlight and makes sugar. That's where we get carbohydrates. The sunlight hits the plant makes sugar. The sugar is processed, and in certain times, it turns the excess sugars into what we call what? Fruits. That's where the excess sugar. So the corn is the excess sugar. That's why corn is. So now in the winter, the sunlight, the plant says, well, wow, this isn't the time I should be growing. What am I going to do with all this sugar? So it turns the sugar into fat and stores it. Stores it in the leaves, stores it in nuts, so omega-3s do not come from fish. Omega-3s originate in plants like algae that the fish what?
Eats.
They said, I don't know about you, but I'm going to do the smart thing. So they eat it and they store it in their fat. They store it in their fat. So everything God told us we needed, you get from plants. If you get it from an animal, it's because the animal obeyed God.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Since the fishes get their omega-3 from algae that they eat, and we are not in the water to eat it like they would eat it, on Earth, where we live above the water, where would we get our omega-3?
Where does omega-3 come from?
Plants.
Okay, so you eat plants. Okay, take vitamin E. Where would you get vitamin E from?
Plants.
Greens. Greens is a rich source of vitamin E. There's a weed that grows out here, a couple of weeds, one is called purslane. I was walking downtown a couple months ago and I saw this big, beautiful weed growing out of the cracks of a building and the sidewalk, real succulent leaf. That's the richest plant source of omega-3 there is. And it's growing out of the cracks of the building.
Wow.
More per weight than you would get out of fish. Hey, there it is. So really, it's because we haven't learned about our bodies and how it works and about what God has provided. That's why we do the things we do, out of habit. We are taught that, then we are trained that, then we practice that. So we think, wow, when I was growing up, I know I became a vegetarian in 1975. My doctor told me, you're going to be so sick.
Yeah.
You're going to die.
True.
I said, I don't think so. I would love to see that doctor today. Okay? You show me yours, I'll show you mine.
He's still alive.
Hey, I'm saying I haven't had a cold, and I think I've had 2 colds in 15 years. Last maybe 16, 20 years almost. I haven't had high blood pressure, diabetes. I haven't taken an aspirin in over 30 years. I'm saying I'm doing all right eating plants. Blood pressure, see, we've got to change our thinking about this. So, what controls your blood pressure? Now, I'm going to give you something else. Tell me when I'm throwing out too much information, okay? Because I'll throw out information until you're blue, okay? Okay, so there are 3 principal types of foods, right? What are they? Fats, proteins, and carbs. Okay? Remember this now. Fats, protein. I meant to take this so I could make you copies of it. And I got my recorder in my... Oh well. Okay, so 3 types. But then, how many types of powers do you have in your body? let me, yeah,